All right, so welcome back to what is it now, episode 5
Sure
of the Football
is.
Minded podcast. Uh,
It's been a
guys,
while, so welcome back, everybody.
yep,
Hope you've had a great few weeks. Episode
international
5,
break.
as my colleague Peter has mentioned, we just came off the international break. There was also the fourth match day of Champions League before the international break. But we'll first delve into the Euro qualifiers.
Yeah, international break sucked. Well, at least for me.
It ain't fun for no Germany fans, I tell you that. Whether it's this break, the last one, or even the next one.
Yeah, so we got 3 main topics today. First, we'll be starting off with the Euro qualifiers. Quick recap of that. Talk a little bit about the Euro hosts, Germany. Liverpool. We talk about Liverpool and their resurgence this season. Um, we'll be discussing what are the main factors for their success, their potential title challenge, and at the end we'll be doing a best signings so far this season, or the ones that we think. We'll be both providing our top 3 as well as a couple of honorable mentions. So yeah, let's dive right into it. Tony, what do you think about the qualifiers?
Well, it depends which group we look at here, because some of these groups, the outcome was the obvious from the get go. I mean, if you look at groups A, B, C, even D, the first like four groups, it was the expected teams. So we
Yeah.
have Spain, Scotland, then we have France, Netherlands,
Yeah.
England, Italy.
Well, actually, Italy. You know what? I think that was a pen.
Yes, I genuinely believe that was a
And they
penalty
didn't.
as well.
Was there no VAR in the game?
I mean, I'm sure they looked at it, but the ref didn't go
I didn't
to it. He
see.
wasn't called to go to it.
It
So,
looked like a foul. There was contact.
oh yeah,
It
there
was a
definitely
definite
was.
goal scoring chance. He clipped his foot. He clipped Modric's foot. It was Modric, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that was a pen. I don't know. I think
honestly,
Italy got very very lucky.
as much as I wanted Italy to advance, I mean, I do think it was a penalty for
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
I don't know. I
And
think that was a little bit
if we go
weird.
to Group D, here's maybe the slight surprise. It's Turkey and Croatia. Turkey finished number one, which
Turkey
is
had a
maybe
good
the
qualifying
surprise.
run. Yeah.
Yeah, but so like I think that's the only surprise here. It's that Croatia didn't finish first. It was only by 1 point. By 1 point. I mean, Turkey had 17, Croatia had 16. So yeah, I think with this, I mean, both teams are qualified. It was only a 1 point difference. Turkey had a good run, especially they had a good start, and they just didn't relent. I think they lost their first loss was their last game of their qualifiers against Wales. So that's that. But then hear this Group E. Group E, we have Albania, Czech Republic. Albania under coach Silvino, they've been absolutely outstanding. He's sort of labeled as this crazy guy, or how they say in French, un fou. And he led Albania to first place in the group, ahead of nations like Czech Republic, Poland. So we have Czech Republic finishing second. They go through. Honestly, I predicted Czech Republic to actually finish second, but Poland to finish first,
Actually,
and maybe Albania getting through the playoffs.
Albania's second ever qualification to the Euros.
Yep.
Qualified in 2016 and
Yep.
now in 2024.
Exactly. But the interesting one from this group was Moldova. They were alive until the very last match day. Now, sure, they lost 2-0 to Czech Republic. Had they won the game, I mean, a draw wouldn't have been enough, but had they won the game, they could have advanced over Czech Republic. Imagine a small country like Moldova.
Or maybe even playoffs. They could have been. They could have been in the playoffs.
No, thing is, when I was checking the standings beforehand, it's due to their Nations League performances,
Oh,
and then
that's true,
also
right,
to their
yeah.
FIFA ranking, like their FIFA/UEFA ranking. Moldova weren't eligible when you look at the other teams that were. So unfortunately, Moldova they absolutely had to be in the top two in the group to advance, which they fell short just on the very last day. And then Group F, there's a slight surprise, and the surprise is not only the team but the difference in terms of points. So we have Belgium, who finished first, predictable, and then second place was Austria, and then this is with third place being Sweden. So that is a surprise a little bit in itself. I mean, Austria have been playing very well lately.
They have. They
They're
beat
friendly
Germany.
win against Germany, and
They
they have
played
a
very
good
well.
squad. And Sweden, I mean, they're sort of in that phase where some of these older players they're leaving. You got players like Isak who are just starting to be on the come up. Isak is a little bit of a late bloomer, honestly. Everyone expected him to start playing really well right off the bat because I
Yeah.
mean he's been there for a bit.
Well, I could argue on paper Austria is a better team than Sweden at the moment. You got guys like Alaba,
Yeah, yeah.
Baumgartlinger,
Honestly, you have a point. It's just like we always think about
Sabitzer.
Sweden as being a more stronger, more stable squad, right?
Yeah,
So when we look at it without a thorough analysis, I mean, Sweden will always be considered one of the better teams in Europe. I mean,
fair enough.
obviously they don't compete
Outside
against
the
teams
top
like
teams,
England,
yeah.
outside the top teams. But the real surprise is the point difference between second and third. We're talking about 9 points. So Austria had 19 points. They finished with 19 points, and Sweden finished with 10.
Austria could have taken top spot.
Yeah, they did. Had it not been a Lukaku 4-goal game against
Yeah,
Azerbaijan, I
that's
mean, they were
true.
probably going to win that game anyways. But Lukaku, 16 goals for the Golden Boot in the qualifiers, which
That's
is
crazy.
quite impressive, especially after all the adversity he's been facing, all
Especially
the
after his
backlash he's been
abysmal
facing.
World Cup performances.
Yes, the Champions
The
League
Champions League final, yeah.
Yeah, he's been facing a lot.
Could argue Inter had the better of the chances in that game.
Yeah, he was Golden Glove. He won Golden Glove in that game. If you ask me, with that save on the line there from his own teammate's header. So that's that for that group, which is it was really surprising seeing that difference. Like Sweden isn't even in the playoffs; they're out. They're completely out. So that's probably the biggest surprise in terms of nations that didn't even make the playoffs. I'd say it's Sweden. Group G, the obvious Hungary, Serbia in that order too.
Yeah, pretty weak group.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the other competitors, Montenegro, Lithuania, Bulgaria. Maybe you could argue for a little bit of a surprise that Bulgaria finished last instead of Lithuania.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, neither team even made the playoffs. So that's that. Group H was an interesting one because Group H, I mean, the two teams that were expected to make it made it, Denmark and Slovenia. But the thing is, it was a very close run to the finish line between those two, plus Finland and Kazakhstan.
And you had Finland and Kazakhstan are now in the playoffs.
Yeah, Finland, it had to do with their Nations League performance, so they were pretty much already confirmed in. Kazakhstan, it was their Nations League performance had a bit of an impact, but then it was also based on the other teams and then their ranking as well and their performance in the Euro qualifiers. So I mean, up until the very last match day, Kazakhstan, like Moldova, had they defeated Slovenia, Kazakhstan would have made it right into the Euro.
Well, you could argue it could help that San Marino was in their group too.
A little bit,
a team to stat pad against.
Literally, but hey, let's like very quick stat here. During the last 3 games, San Marino scored 3 goals, whereas Brazil only scored 1. Imagine that. And now Group I is a little bit of a surprise. But the real surprise is the fact that Romania finished first and Switzerland second. And as a Swiss, this was an abysmal performance for many reasons. One, the fact that Switzerland didn't finish first. 2, for the fact that Switzerland had more winless games than wins. 4 wins to 5 draws plus a loss. Their loss coming in the last game against Romania. I mean, Switzerland were the better team in every game, but many games they just couldn't close it, resulting in a draw where they concede a late goal. Romania, they lose 1-0. Even though Switzerland were the better team, Romania had a couple chances. They took care of it on one of them. And so Romania finished first in that group, Switzerland second.
Going undefeated too.
Yep. And when I'm talking about 6 winless games, those came in the last 7 games of the qualifiers. So when I tell you Switzerland started the Euro qualifiers with 3 wins out of 3, and then from there they win only 1 of their last 7, and that 1 win came against Andorra.
You think it could have had something to do with a bit of complacency, considering that they saw themselves as the top team in the group?
It may have been, but like the coach is at fault. I'll put the players at fault too. I would even say the fact that yes, because especially when you look at those 2 games they played against Kosovo. The first game against Kosovo, when I saw them playing that game, it looked like a friendly. I mean, Switzerland did not take it seriously. The second game as well, it was like that. And Switzerland had the lead literally at every time. And they squandered it in the first game 2-2. They had the lead 1-0, squandered it, go up 2-1, squandered it, and then they concede literally on the last play to blow to give 2 points away just like that, vanish.
Which also has repercussions in the Euro itself. Now they're in pot two.
Pot 4.
Oh, pot four?
Yeah.
How come?
I don't know. It's like it had to do with the fact that they finished second.
Probably
but then,
their FIFA ranking too.
well, no, even then, like there are some teams that finish second in their group that are lower than Switzerland in the ranking.
Fair. I don't know. So, what you think it had to do with Euro qualifiers performance?
Maybe with points. Like, let's see if we talk about points accumulated.
Well, Serbia is definitely pot.
Like 4. Austria got more points.
Well, anyway, regardless, if they finished first, they would have been pot 3, pot 2, potentially. Now they could potentially be in a group of death.
They could, yeah. Group J,
it's not ideal.
Yeah, and Group J, the last one, Portugal, 10 out of 10, incredible performance. Yeah, only 2 goals conceded, 36 goals
Probably
scored.
The best team in the qualifiers.
By far, too.
Yeah.
Their 2 goals conceded were in a 3-2 win against Slovakia, so in the same game. They had 9 clean sheets. Slovakia finishing second. Luxembourg had a chance up until the last game as well. Or no, second last game. And now they're going to the playoffs. So when we look at the playoffs now, we have Path A with Poland, Finland, Wales, and Estonia, the outlier. Yep. Estonia, I don't see, no offense, Estonia or any Estonians seeing this, but I don't see them being beating Poland by any means.
Well, actually, that's probably the strongest path. Like between Path A, Path B, and Path C, Path A has the strongest.
And it was designed like that too. It's actually designed on rankings. But then Estonia, because it was sort of like the outlier, they couldn't put them in the weaker one. They had to put them with the stronger one. So Poland, Finland, Wales, Estonia. I have Poland beating Estonia, Finland beating Wales, Poland beating Finland in the final.
Yeah, I think Poland's coming out of that group, out of that path as well.
Path B.
Yeah, Israel, Iceland, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Ukraine. My pick in this I'll go for Bosnia. I think Bosnia will make it out. Ukraine is probably the favorite. But yeah, I'll go for Bosnia.
I mean, if you put Bosnia, I'd consider that an upset should it happen.
Yeah, I think Ukraine is the favorite at the moment.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Bosnia has quite a few good players.
So Path C now, we have Georgia, Luxembourg, Greece, Kazakhstan. If I'm really looking at this rationally, I'd pick Greece to advance.
I think so too.
But I think Kazakhstan, man. I mean, Borat country. We need to see this. Very nice.
But they had a good qualifiers and a good Nations League performance.
Very good.
So
I was proud of their qualifying performance. I mean, those games that they won too, they were down 1-0 or 2-1, and then they steal it at the end, winning 2-1 or 3-2. So it was crazy. But Luxembourg's very small nation. Imagine if they make it, that would be their first ever appearance as well. Like Kazakhstan, Georgia would be their first ever appearance.
The Kvara miracle.
Well. Yeah, the Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, however you pronounce his name. That player could carry the nation alone to the Euro, considering their path. So
we'll have to see. But I think Greece is the most complete team.
Oh, for sure.
The most compact, the most organized. They're a good defensive team.
For sure.
So, and usually in these type of knockout round type games, it's really the most organized, the most defensively sound team that usually makes it out.
For sure.
So my pick for that one is Greece.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Greece number 1, but honestly, if you pick between Greece and Georgia, because Georgia is my number 2, if you pick between the two of those teams, who has the easiest chance to make the final? It's definitely Georgia.
Probably. Well, yeah, they're the favorites against Luxembourg. Greece has a tougher game with Kazakhstan.
Yeah. So that concludes the playoffs. So, I mean, 3 teams left to make it to the Euro. We'll see what happens. But now, speaking of Euro, before we go to the Euro, we still have the rest of the club season to cover. So, which team is impressing you these days?
So, honestly, there's a lot of teams that are doing pretty well right now. Girona, Stuttgart, Leverkusen. But honestly, I really want to highlight Liverpool and their resurgence. They've had a tough last 2 seasons, especially in the league. Last year, they finished, I believe, 6th place, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 7th, 6th? I think 6th. They had a pretty tough season in the Premier League. the team looked a little bit out of sorts, a little bit inconsistent. Their midfield looked a little bit weak. But I think they did some really good work in the transfer window this summer. They seem to have a more balanced team. I think they're still missing a couple of pieces here and there. I'll get to that in a second though. But really, they got rid of some of the dead weight on the team.
I agree.
Fabinho, Milner, Henderson, and Keita all out. Fabinho, Milner, and Henderson all past their prime. Keita's a good player. I just don't think he
Never
really had
materialized.
exactly. He never had
Yeah.
the impact that people expected him to have, or the impact that he had at Leipzig before going.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's weird seeing him at Bremen now.
yeah, but it could be a good man. He made his name in the Bundesliga. I think it could be a good move for his career because I think he's still like what 28, 29.
Yeah, yeah, he's not
Yeah.
old. He's not
So
old at
you know,
all.
he's still pretty young. He still has some. I think he still has a lot to offer in footballing terms.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Just gonna
getting rid
check
of
that standings.
Fabinho, Milner, and Henderson, I think it's the right move.
I agree. No,
All past their
definitely.
prime, right?
Yeah.
Fabinho had a really good run. He was one of the best number sixes in the league for a couple years. But yeah, I think it was time for them to go.
Yeah.
They brought in a couple of good midfielders. Zobolai, his name is a little bit hard to pronounce. Endo from Stuttgart, Gravenberch from Bayern, which I think he hasn't necessarily had the greatest impact right away right now.
And that wasn't expected either.
Yeah, but he's gotten more minutes at Liverpool than he did at Bayern. And I think he's showed promise. I think he will develop into a crucial player in that team. McAllister's been really good.
Yeah.
One of the best signings they made after Zobolai. I'll get to that in a second too.
One thing though, with respect to players and now starting to perform at Liverpool, the one that you haven't mentioned that we should mention is the one that came last year in Darwin Núñez. But he's definitely stepped it up.
This guy scores the hard goals and misses the tap-ins.
I know it's the weirdest thing.
Honestly,
but compared to last season where he couldn't even score the hard goals.
That's true, but
never mind the tap.
My problem with him is he gets into the right position. It's like a Werner situation.
Very much so.
He gets into the right positions. He's just not efficient. He has the most shots in the team per game, tied with Salah. I think 3.2 shots a game. Salah's conversion rate is a lot higher. Salah's XG is a lot higher. So I don't know. I feel like he still has a higher level to reach. He's been good. He's improved, and that's always a good sign when you see a player improve. I think he could build on that, but I mean, still slightly underwhelming. Just slightly.
I agree. I mean, there's still room to grow.
Yeah,
and I mean, I think he'll achieve it, especially if he plays at this pace that he has now. I mean, come on, he'll definitely.
He's getting the chances. Like he's getting in the right areas, right? Yeah. So that's always good for a striker. It's just he's got to finish the easy chances, and if he does that, I think along with Diaz and Salah, I think that front line will be excellent with Cody Gakpo.
It's just the discipline, really. I mean, be more composed, have just like stellar discipline, and it'll come. It'll come.
Yeah. No, I think it will. But really, honestly, I think the real reason why they've improved so much is they have a better, more creative, more dynamic midfield now. Yeah. And I think it's largely due to Sobolai. He's been outstanding. He's created the most chances for Liverpool in the Prem. 28 chances created compared to Salah's 26. And also, we got to mention Salah. He's been having an outstanding season.
Absolutely.
Top scorer, top assister, tied for most shots per game with Núñez. He's been absolutely incredible for Liverpool. And honestly, the main reason why they are in that position. But yeah, I think they're City's biggest title challengers. I think they will. They have that been there, done that factor compared to Arsenal.
That is true. I mean, despite the change in squads, I mean,
the core is still there.
Have that core. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They still
like
have
Van Dijk, Alisson, Salah. Like you have
the coaching staff. I mean, that's the key one right there as well.
That as well.
So yeah, I mean, Arsenal is tied with them, but I think Liverpool might have more of that durability.
Yeah.
Especially considering they've stayed that they've had a new team now, Liverpool, and the fact that they're already starting out quite well. I mean, it's it's good news for their short to medium term future already. You
Yeah.
know, so
Also, the right signings in January can make a big difference. I think there's two positions they really need to focus on. They still need a number six in the midfield. Like right now, their midfield is Curtis Jones, Sobolai, and McAllister. I think if you swap out Curtis or McAllister occasionally for a number six that stays in the team week in, week out. Not sure who's really on the market right now, but I think a six would be essential for them. It would really bring that defensive balance to the team because right now their main problem is they concede a lot of chances. I think that's their main issue. They concede a lot of chances. They're not as how do you say stable in the back.
yeah,
Um, Obviously, they have Van Dyke and Robertson and Trent. Trent isn't really the greatest defensively. I like Robertson defensively; he's pretty good. Van Dyke is Van Dyke. I think they need another center back. That's the other position that they should look for.
yeah,
So I think center back and a six,
yeah.
and I could see them really giving City a run for their money.
Well, now there's this news coming out, right? That Arsenal's trying to get Ruben Neves from Al Hilal. Could Liverpool enter that race to get him? And could he solve many of their issues?
Honestly, I don't think he's the right profile. I think they should look more at a player like Palhinha. If Palhinha doesn't go to Bayern in the summer, which it's looking less and less likely now, Bayern aren't necessarily willing to pay the fee that Fulham want, and also him signing a contract extension probably hurt Bayern's chances. Bayern spent a lot of money in the summer window, so if he doesn't go to Bayern, I think Palhinha might be the choice for Liverpool. I think he'd be very good. Um, Also, potentially End because Endo was a six. He's a very energetic six, so similar to a Kante type profile. So I don't know. Maybe he could fill in that role, but I think Palinha is the type of profile that they should go for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really unfortunate like Moises Caicedo's value was so inflated. So like I don't blame Liverpool for not signing him
Yeah,
by
yeah.
any means. Um Now there could have been a player like Marco Verratti who ended up going to Qatar. I mean, he was a good six.
But
Would he have fit at Liverpool? That I don't
it's
know.
not about the fit. It's just the type of player that they need isn't a Verratti player. They don't need someone that can really control the game. They need someone who's really like a defensive anchor in that midfield, the one that really like sits in front of the back line,
Mhm.
is not afraid to go into challenges, is not afraid to get a yellow card when it's necessary. But yeah, so that's I don't think Verratti really fits that style. I'm not saying he's bad at it, but he's not the biggest guy. He's not
Yeah.
the biggest guy. He's not gonna win you the aerial battles, which is I think what Liverpool lack right
Yeah.
now.
Then I'll tell you who they should have got. They should have taken Ugarte, that who PSG ended up getting, because that's you're describing the player.
Yeah,
Ugarte is exactly that. And as a PSG fan looking at this, seeing Ugarte replace Verratti, this is this is an improvement big time because
for
it's
sure.
more of a player PSG needed. We needed that type of character on
How much
in
did
the
he go
squad.
for?
Oh, it was pretty expensive. He went 60-65 million.
Okay.
And
Well, that's
considering
that's
his age, it was considered like more of a high risk, high reward kind of thing. But I mean, it's paid off so far at PSG. Would it have been the same at Liverpool? Who knows? We
yeah, that's
can't
true.
guarantee that.
I don't know. Palinha has that like starter experience in the Prem. Like week in week out, he
Fair,
starts.
very fair.
So I don't know. I think if I'm Liverpool, I think I'd really consider Palinha. But then again, you don't know what their scouting staff is thinking, and who knows what Klopp wants for his team. But that's just me. I'm no expert.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Liverpool's resurgence is something to really pay attention to. I think they're City's main title challengers this year. Um,
Will
and
they do
yeah,
it though? That's the real question.
I
Can they
think.
surpass them?
Uh, do I think they're gonna beat City to the title? No. Are they the biggest threat? I think so. That's where I stand.
Okay, fair enough. Fair.
Now, finally, we have our final topic of the day. I think it'll be a pretty fun topic. Me and Tony have picked out our top three signings
Mm-hmm.
of the year so far. Obviously, that could change come the end of the season. But yeah, so we've picked out our top three. Also, a couple of honorable mentions, which we'll talk about after the top three.
Absolutely.
I'll let you start.
Well, I mean, I was first going to ask you, where do you have Soboslai? Is he in your top three? Is he an honorable mention? Since we were talking about newcomers, Soboslai, McAllister, Endo,
So
Gravenberg.
I don't think McAllister's been good. I don't think he necessarily makes it into my honorable mentions. He'd be close, but Sobel did make my honorable mentions, but he did
And that's
not make my
fair.
top three.
And that's a fair take. That's a fair take, too. I think he's definitely up there. Top three, I don't know, but definitely at least honorable mentions.
Yeah, he's been very
So,
good. Like he's revitalized that Liverpool midfield, which was a bit lackluster in the last couple of years.
yeah, for sure. So, what are your top three players? Because I want to see yours, and I want to see if we have any in common.
Okay, so I'll start my number three, which some people would probably have him a little bit higher, and if you do have him a little bit higher, I wouldn't really argue with it. I'd still agree. But Jude Bellingham, coming in as supposedly he's supposed to be a number 8, kind of like a box to box creative guy, top scorer in the Liga right now, and has
Yeah,
scored some like super important goals for Real Madrid.
big time.
Like we saw him in the El Clasico. Like the amount of 90th minute plus winners he scored, like it's been incredible. He's had an incredible start.
He's on almost a goal per game here.
Yeah,
14 games in all competitions, 13 goals.
yeah, and I remember when we talked about him earlier on, and we're like, oh, it's not sustainable. There's no way he continues with this, and I still don't think it's sustainable.
You won't. I don't think he'll win Golden Boot. Put it
No, I don't think he'll win Golden Boot, but like it's just incredible. It's kind of incredible. Like
It is.
it's very unexpected. I thought I didn't think he was gonna be bad. I just didn't think he would be that clutch. Like he's been like not just good. He's been clutch.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be more playmaking than actually scoring.
Yeah, like but he's taken on that kind of like Lampard role,
Yeah.
right? Um, yeah. So that's Jude
No.
Bellingham. So that's my number three. My number two, James Madison,
Okay. Okay.
and
I had him up there too.
just because I have him a little bit higher than Jude Bellingham, because Jude, like, it's Real Madrid. We know they're going to be good, right? It's very rare where you see Real Madrid have, like, be bad, right? But James Madison has revitalized a Tottenham team that, after losing Harry Kane, it looked like they might not have the greatest season. And you look at their squad on paper, they're missing a couple of big names, like, I don't know. They don't strike me as a team that can really compete for a top 3 spot in the Prem or top 4. I think there are 4 teams that are better than them
Agreed.
on paper at least, but they've played amazing.
Yeah, he's
so
definitely
far.
filled that void. I mean, he's not Harry Kane. He did not replace Harry Kane.
No,
but
no,
he's
of
filled
course
that
not.
void where
He's just been everything goes through him. He's the catalyst, right?
Yeah.
Like so, yeah, like you got to give him credit for this. Well,
Yeah.
not just him. The whole team's
The
played
real
well.
thing is the coach.
Coach as well. Son started scoring a bunch of goals after like game week 3, I think.
Yeah.
Like the whole team is playing well, but everything goes through James Madison.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like he I think he has one of the most chances created in the league. I'm not sure what the exact number is. What some of the most forward passes, key passes. He's just been great, and the analytics say so. The expected assists per game say so.
Of course.
So yeah, he's my number 2, and my number 1.
I can only think of one name at this point.
I'm a Bayern fan.
Speaking of the Spurs, first off.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a Bayern fan. This might be a little bit biased. Some might not be biased actually. Like his stats speak for themselves.
They do.
Harry Kane.
They definitely do.
Mr. Harry Kane. I think he's the best striker in the world right now.
Yeah, for sure.
17 goals in the league. I think he has 5 assists in the league, which is 21 goal involvements. That's league only, right?
Yeah,
it's quite.
Never mind their last Champions League game scores a late brace against Galatasaray.
Yep,
I mean that was an impressive performance right there, especially towards the end. Very clutch. I mean, it's not unexpected either. I mean,
it's not unexpected at all. But
when you're down 1-0 as Bayern Munich, you expect that player to to turn the team around like that.
Yep, yep.
So
No, but like
impressive, nevertheless.
he's been absolutely sensational. Like it,
Yeah.
it it's scoring 17 goals in 11 matches on top of having 5 assists, and it's not only the fact that he's scoring, it's the fact that he's making players around him better. Leroy Sané is having the season of his life, and part of that is due to Kane.
Oh, for
He
sure.
feeds off Kane. The amount of times I've seen him giving Kane the ball, making a run in behind, and Kane, he's a great passer,
Yeah. So
and he's almost pass first.
Yeah.
So he finds Sane in the right places. He really makes the team around him better. So that's why for me he's the best signing so far of the
Yeah.
season.
One feeds off the other kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it goes both ways. Kane feeds off Sane, Sane feeds off Kane,
yeah, yeah.
and it's working just fine.
And also like what I think we lacked last year was that focal point, right? And
Yeah.
not only is he the focal point and he's drawing attention from other players, but he himself is scoring, and
Yeah.
he's scoring good goals. And I think he's finding life at Bayern a lot easier than life at Spurs.
Oh, for
Like he's
sure.
getting easy goals at Bayern. He wasn't getting those easy goals at Spurs.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I don't know. I think it's a great fit. I think he's somehow surpassed expectations, and his expectations were already very high.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's my number one. Now I'd like to hear yours.
Well, if we stay in the Bundesliga in this case, I mean, Victor Boniface has
Yeah,
had an incredible start to his season.
crazy hot start.
Very.
Died down a
Very.
little bit, but that happens. As a
That
striker,
happens.
yeah.
I mean, you can't just be scoring literally every game. Bayer
Well, unless you're
Leverkusen,
Harry
they're
Kane.
still competing for the top. Harry Kane. Harry Kane's Harry Kane. I mean,
or
competing-
Gurasi,
they
but
were competing for the title,
yeah, yeah.
and Bayer Leverkusen is still up there. I mean, sure, they had other newcomers too. Granit Xhaka is another one. Xabi
Hoffman.
Alonso is in his first full season.
Yeah. Jonas Hoffman as well.
Yeah. So I mean, Boniface has helped Leverkusen enormously.
You can argue they've been maybe not the best team in Europe, but you can argue they've been playing the best in Europe so far. Considering people knew they were going to be good.
Oh yeah,
but that good is, I don't know.
No, I knew they were going to be one of the probably the second best team in Bundesliga or something. But the fact that they're still maintaining very close to Bayern Munich for that top position, and I mean, I think it's going to carry on. This is not just going to die down by the end of December.
They're playing sustainable football. Yeah,
yeah. We'll see this by April, even May. This race to the finish line. I don't think this is going to end by December, January. It's going to be done, and Bayern Munich are going to have a substantial lead. I don't believe that.
I think Liverpool will head into the. I think not. Sorry, Liverpool. Wow, we're just talking about Liverpool. But I think Leverkusen heading into the winter break will probably still be first. But historically, Leverkusen have been winter champions on numerous occasions, but have never won the league.
Yeah, that is true.
So,
last year they were pretty much that.
Yeah.
So
were they winter champions? I don't think they were winter
I don't know, but they were way up there.
No, but on so many occasions, Leverkusen are winter champions. I don't remember the exact years. It's happened numerous times, and second half of the season they drop off a little bit.
Yeah.
Bayern usually edges them out.
Yeah. So now the next one I want to talk about, it's I'm going to be mentioning two names here, but they're from the same team in the Bundesliga. We have A, Lois Openda, and B, Xavi Simons, both newcomers. They've both been killing it with Leipzig, both in the Bundesliga and in Champions League.
Yep.
Two young players, Openda coming from Lens, Xavi Simons transferring back from PSV Eindhoven to PSG when they reactivated the buyback clause. But then PSG loans Xavi Simons to Leipzig. And what happens? I mean, Xavi Simons is really now living up to those expectations. I mean, he had great numbers at PSV Eindhoven, but at the same time, the expectations we had for him, being a top five league player, right? Having those really good numbers. I mean,
we knew he was good, but we didn't think he'd have that instant impact.
As a PSG fan, a lot of fans were worried about him though. Because coming from the academy, this guy was barely getting minutes under Pochettino. like barely getting any minutes. The one season under Galtier, he's loaned to PSV Eindhoven's playing really well. PSG fans are worried that they may not get him back despite still having that buyback clause, but PSG were wise to activate it. So they get him, and then they loan him to Leipzig, which I think was a perfect move for him
Yep, yep.
because you're now going from PSV Eindhoven, which is a top team in like a sixth or seventh best league in the world. You're going to a top 5 league in Leipzig, one of the best teams in arguably maybe even the second best or third best league in the world at this point. So you're really seeing Xavi Simons at Leipzig lighting it up in one of the top leagues, and he's only doing this at age 24 kind of thing.
Yeah, he's the top assister
Yeah,
for the team. Oh, I think he's the top assister in the league, is he?
I mean, I don't even care what kind of top assist he is.
Yeah, he's
Either
top.
way,
Actually,
it's
wait.
gonna be something to watch for the rest of the season. And I think, I mean, we're talking about Leverkusen, right? In competing with Bayern Munich. I mean, I have Leipzig competing for that third place, easy.
It's gonna be close because honestly, although Dortmund got smacked by Bayern, uh, other than that, Dortmund hasn't necessarily clicked yet, but they're getting results.
Oh yeah,
So
look at their Champions League performance too.
yeah, well, two massive wins against Newcastle.
Yeah, I didn't
So
expect that at all.
yeah, so honestly, I think the top four race is gonna be very very tight in the Bundesliga, and I'm I can't wait to see Dortmund actually start clicking.
Yeah, but
Because
honestly, for top 4 race, I still have Leipzig and Dortmund. Whether it's third, fourth place, to me, it doesn't really matter.
well, no, I'm not sure who's gonna like what it's gonna be for the top four. I think they're gonna be in the top four.
Yeah,
I think Stuttgart might slightly drop out of
they
it.
will. I think
Maybe
they will.
fifth place. You never know though, because they're playing very good football. Like it's sustainable football. They're not getting lucky, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, if Stuttgart stay up there in the top 4, they end the season in the top 4, that would be an incredible success for them.
Well,
That
actually,
would
they beat Dortmund.
they did.
They beat Dortmund 2-1. So now Dortmund lost their last two games. Can't really. Well, they played Bayern. 4-0 might have been a little bit exaggerated,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I could see. I don't know. It's really up in the air right now in the Bundesliga. I
Yeah,
think it's
which I like. I like. I mean, we've seen so many years Bayern dominate the league, and now last season, until the very death of the season, of the end of the last game, you had Bayern Munich with Borussia Dortmund, and it was literally just by one goal
yeah.
that it
Jamal
ended.
Musiala at death.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was impressive.
But honestly, we're starting to see Leverkusen and Bayern pulling away a little
Yeah, yeah. For the top 2 for sure.
Yeah.
For the top 2 definitely. So now we covered 3 players, I guess. But if I may mention one or two more players, I like to
bit. Honorable
mention
mentions, yeah.
Musa Diaby
He's been good.
for Aston
Yeah.
Villa. I mean, thing is because Aston Villa got quite a few signings. So I mean,
It's hard to pinpoint who's really, yeah.
exactly, yeah. But I think Musa Diaby really takes it. I mean, he's controlled that midfield. I've always liked him from his days at PSG. It was really sad to see him go. It was really because of financial fair play that they had to sell him. They didn't even want to sell him. Goes to Bayer Leverkusen, plays very well, especially last season under
Yep.
Xabi Alonso. I was surprised that he actually left. Honestly, I thought he was gonna maybe give himself one full year under Alonso, but goes to Aston Villa under Unai Emery.
And they're playing really well.
Yeah, he knows how to use these players.
Yeah.
It's been impressive. I mean, I even wrote an article on how well Unai Emery had coached last season and how well him and the front office have been recruiting these players. I mean, him, Tielemans, Pau Torres, like these are, and even Nicolo Zaniolo towards the end. I mean, now he's a little bit under fire with the betting stuff, but
Yeah.
still been playing really solid.
And they're clicking, right? They have the second most goals scored in the Prem after City. They have 29 goals.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins is something else.
He is. He's a good striker. He's a very
Yeah.
good striker.
So I mean, Aston Villa being 5th in the Premier League, considering all these other teams competing for top 5, top 4, or even top 3. I mean, it's really impressive what's going on with Aston Villa in Birmingham and at
100%, yeah.
Villa Park. It's quite the thing. So that's one player done. Now the other player I wanted to mention, this may be a little bit biased as a Swiss, but I wanted to highlight Jan Sommer's transfer from Bayern Munich to Inter Milan
He's been good.
because he's been playing very well. Now he hasn't been playing as well with Switzerland, But with Inter Milan, I mean, he's only conceded, I think, what, 5 or 6 goals in, I think, what, 10 or 11 games. So it's pretty impressive. And I mean, 4 of those goals came in only 2 different games. He conceded 2 goals in the Champions League. And I mean, he's been a very efficient goalkeeper. I mean, when you look at the amount of wins, clean sheets, even saves per game that he's done, it's just been quite impressive. He came, I think, to Inter Milan for, what was the price? I had it right here. It was for 6.75 million. And this is for a starter on a team that is now going to likely, I think, in my opinion, win the league title.
Probably, yeah.
So you're replacing Onana, who you sold for tens of millions. You're replacing him with Sommer, who came in for 6.75.
Arguably a similar caliber goalkeeper, if not better.
Exactly. And now you're going from third place to probably first in, to probably winning the Scudetto. Will they make it to the final of the Champions League again?
Probably
I don't
not.
think so. But they're definitely going to make it out of the group.
Hey, you have your other Switzerland guy.
Which one are you thinking?
Granit Xhaka has been absolutely amazing.
I did make a quick mention about him.
Oh, you did?
When I mentioned Boniface.
Oh,
I
that's true.
I didn't really go
but
too much into
great.
that.
Like,
yeah, very efficient.
If you look at the analytics, he's been a top 5 midfielder in Europe.
I didn't even take that into consideration.
He's been absolutely amazing. Like, if you look at key passes, forward passes, Granit Xhaka is up there. He might be first in a lot of those categories in Europe so far. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that.
Well, as a Swiss, I thank you. As a Swiss, I thank you. You know, but yeah, it's quite impressive what I'm seeing with Sommer and Inter Milan. I mean, Inter Milan is maintaining that. I remember there was one game where they blew a 2-goal lead, and then there was another one where they lost against Sassuolo. I was thinking maybe they're gonna let it slip away at the expense of AC Milan, you know, taking over that top spot. But it seems like Inter is still holding on, and I think they will. And I predicted them to win the title. So, I mean, so far my prediction is doing well. But I don't know if they're really how far they'll go in Champions League, because they'll definitely pass their group. Benfica has been horrible. Salzburg is Salzburg. I mean, they're not that great of a team. And then Real Sociedad, they're going to be competing with each other. They're playing well. They're going to be competing with them for top of the group.
They're both going to make it out of the group.
Yeah, honestly, the way Inter's been playing, I would expect them to maybe even make it to the quarterfinals.
I could see them being a quarterfinals team. If they get a favorable quarterfinals draw, then maybe a semifinal appearance. But I think there's too many teams that are better than them.
Yeah,
right. Like, I think they got a little bit lucky last year because a lot of the big teams played each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like Bayern played City played Real Madrid. You know, like a lot of big teams were eliminated before the semifinals. I forgot who Inter played.
In the semis, AC Milan.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But it was the way they beat them was really convincing. I mean, they didn't even concede a single goal.
That's true. Yeah. But still, like it's AC, like Inter getting AC Milan is a favorable matchup for them.
Oh yeah, right? If you look at the history of matchups.
Well, especially not just that. Yeah, that's true. But not just that. Like, you know, compare AC Milan to the likes of Bayern, Real Madrid.
Oh yeah.
And the other top teams. You know, it's a favorable matchup. It's you can't expect them to have those type of matchups again.
Agreed. So I mean, now we've been mentioning 5 players, I think. Oh no, 5. Yeah, 5 players: Xavi, Openda, Xhaka, Boniface, Diaby, Sommer. No, 6. It was 6 this whole time. So yeah, 6 players instead of 3. So I mean, I guess I was just more
you gotta rank
trying to give more credit.
You gotta rank them. You're 1, 2, 3, and then your honorable mentions. You gotta rank them. Because I have my rankings. I know it's tough, but
look, I'm gonna probably have to go with Moussa Diaby as number 1.
Moussa Diaby, really?
Yeah. Okay. Just because it's the Premier League, so in my opinion, I think it's a harder league.
Fair enough.
And I mean, I know Aston Villa were on that hot streak, but I mean, with all these newcomers coming in, it's not easy to mesh. Okay, Diaby, I have. Who's the number 2? Who should I pick? Shall I pick between? I think I'll have to go with Boniface for number 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Clinical player. We didn't fully expect it out of him, but I gotta give it to him. Xhaka is there too. Yeah. Is it weird putting two Bayer Leverkusen players in that
Hey,
same
they're
top
one of the
three in
hottest
the
teams in
underrated?
Europe, so why not?
So I may have to put him there. And if it's not him, then it would be probably Openda.
Openda's been great.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, yeah. I like that. I like that. You didn't go for the mainstream guys.
Yeah, I didn't try to because for me the mainstream it's those three that you had mentioned. I mean, I even thought of Madison and Bellingham, but if you were already going to mention them, I had to come up with a contingency plan.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So,
Yeah.
and we were already going to talk about Liverpool, so I imagine Soboslai, McAllister. Can't really talk too much more
Well,
about.
McAllister didn't make mine. Me, my top three: Harry Kane, number one. I think he's just honestly, he might be the best player in the world right now
Right.
in terms of form. If he's not, he's top three. Definitely the best striker in the world. Maybe Haaland competes with him. Those two are close.
In terms of performance, though, Harry Kane has definitely been there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just goal scoring, creating chances, just the way he meshed with the team. But yeah, Harry Kane, James Madison's my second, Jude Bellingham's my third. Honorable mentions: Sobolai and Artem Dovbyk for Girona. Just considering how
Yes.
well Girona's doing, um, he has 7 goals in the league, tied with the likes of Lewandowski. He's one behind for like the main guys in La Liga, like Griezmann. Oh well, he's 3 behind Jude Bellingham, but Jude Bellingham has been insane. But yeah, I think Dovbyk has been a really good signing for Girona, considering their first place in La Liga, which is quite unexpected.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, Harry Kane, James Madison, Bellingham, Soboslai, and Dovbyk.
Yeah.
Those are my guys.
Well, there you go. All in all, I mean, stellar players, excellent season so far. We wish them all the best that they continue these performances.
Yeah, yeah.
We hope that other players who maybe didn't make this cut play well as well. So yeah, hope that we have a really good second half of the season coming, and also final couple of match days in the group stage for the Champions
Champions League.
League,
Yeah,
Europa
yeah.
League, Conference League. So looking forward to that. We'll be back with another episode likely next week.
Yeah,
I'm
next week.
thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see you then. Thank you for tuning in and have a great week.